Quick, pose for the thumbnail.
Awesome. Welcome back, everybody, to the Off the Tools podcast. Today, we have a special guest star, Joseph Cam. And we're going to jump right in. Joe, why don't you just tell us a little bit about your experience in terms of painting itself and like what you transitioned to after. Super open-ended, but you get what I mean.
Yeah, 100%. So I started running a painting franchise with a franchise group called Student Works. I started when I was 19. I ran my franchise for 2 years. First year running the business, scaled it up to 2 crews full time. Second year running the business, doubled it to 4 crews and hired a manager to remove myself from all the day-to-day management, where I just spent my time selling, doing estimates, selling projects, and managing my foreman. And then the franchise group asked me to become a franchise director, where instead of running my own franchise location, that I find, hire, train, and manage anywhere from like 12 to 18 other franchisees. So I spent 3 years full-time doing that. First year, my team did $768,000. Second year, being a franchise director, did $1.8 million. And my third year, which was the 5th year with the company, did $2.5 million. And one of my biggest achievements with that is coached one of my franchisees to run $1 million business within 1 summer in their second summer of running their painting franchise.
Wow.
That's crazy. With good margins.
That is always the caveat. One of the biggest questions when I just think of your experience in general is not even necessarily what sets apart that $80,000 business to that $1 million business, but what sets apart maybe that $200,000-$300,000 business to that $1 million business.
I don't know what it would be for everybody, but for my team, I did have people do $200,000-$300,000, and I had the guy doing $1 million. For the franchise group specifically, I listened to you guys' episode 1 and 2. I know we all come from a background of door knocking. And whether it's door knocking or something else, whether you use I don't know, I don't like promoting it, but Angie's List or whatever, but it's the companies that do a few $100,000, they typically have one source of lead gen. And the guy that did $1 million, his foundation came from door to door, where I helped him build a team of door to door people. He had I don't know, 6, 7, 8 people going on full time. And then he also added Facebook ads, whether it's Facebook ads or whatever, but he had 2 really good ways of generating work. So it was just as Jimmy says, having 2 fishing poles in a pond instead of just one. So yeah, there's never there's never a bad time in terms of not getting lead gen, because it's either one works and the other doesn't, or they both work really well at the same time. So just kind of minimizing your downsides for sure, because things entropy.
How do you think sorry, Jimmy, go on.
Yeah, I had a question. So when you have think of your franchisees that were doing maybe $100K versus ones that were doing 200, even the $1 million. How different was it in terms of their marketing, and how did that really affect their business?
How did it affect the business? Well, I think there's volume and skill set. There's you can be the best at doing estimates or whatever. You can run a great business, but if you don't have enough leads, you're just not going to run a big business. So I think volume is the foundation of running any great business. And the person who just does more, talks to more people, gets more leads, will probably run a bigger business than somebody who just does it really well, but isn't, getting in front of enough people. So I think a lot of once you get to a certain point, skill set is the efficiency, leverage, skill set, the yield percentage is going to dictate on who runs a bigger business. But up until 5 to 10 million, I would even say it's just all volume.
Pretty much the basics. If I was a betting man, right? You got multiple ways of generating leads versus one. 100%. It's an easy one right there.
Cool. Yeah, I think and obviously revenue's one thing, and of course that's king next to profit. But it's when you're even thinking about, and you were looking at all these franchises that you're managing, there's so much that goes into that. And like what you often see is like, as being someone that's coaching them, is the person that's like, they can't get their painters to stay. They ask for time off all the time. They're leaving job sites early. And then there's the people that have no problems whatsoever. And, you know, at a first glance, just like, oh, I guess like it's just the people in there. But what do you attribute that to?
So what was the question again? What do I attribute?
I guess my question is like, you see the painting companies that struggle with their employees and you know, again, they're leaving early, quality's really low, they don't really care, they're not getting good reviews on their project. And then you see the companies that get only great reviews, they never have a problem with anybody showing up, and their painters stay for a long time. So do you attribute that only to like the business owner or hiring, combination of both?
So after the painting franchise group, I then went on to a consulting firm for contractors. So I would see this in a lot of other trades too, but it's like culture and like the enjoyment of the job itself. If your employees who are doing the work for you are like, what you're trading with the employee is their time and their focus and energy for stability. And if you don't have enough work and your employees are coming from this place of fear and scarcity because they don't know where their next job is going to be, or they only see the schedule 2-3 weeks out instead of knowing, you know, what their schedule is 3-4 months out. Number one, it's just unfair to the employee because that's not what they signed up for. Like they're an employee because they don't want the uncertainty of where am I going to get my next paycheck. That's kind of the risk that you take on as the contractor and as the business owner. So it's like, culture aside, it's like people leave when they don't feel like they're on a winning team. And part of a winning team is a company that has an abundance amount of work. But another thing too is like people stay year after year when they feel like they're learning and growing. They're making great money and they're happy with the money that they're making. And they have friends in the company and they're having fun. So if someone leaves your company, I would audit and ask yourself, okay, were they making enough money? Were they like pumped about the money that they're making? Did they grow and do they feel like they learned and grew as a human being? And three, are they having fun? Like, are they laughing, smiling on the job site? Are they shooting the shit with other people in the crew? Like, are they having fun? Are they having fun with the homeowner? Are they on projects that are quoted properly? Right. So that's kind of what comes to mind for me.
Totally. And I mean, I guess just like venturing into like what you're doing now, you know, to steal your thunder here, Joe has started a sales agency after he was in that contractor consulting company. Now, if you were to sit down with a painting contractor who's never really considered anything even about sales before, and is now even just like considering that like maybe he doesn't only have to just walk in and quote unquote be himself and then fire out a number and smile at them, tell them their dog looks cute and, you know, hope for the best. Where would you even start with someone like that to try and maybe even develop some sort of sales process?
Yeah. So I guess like I'll sell you why learning sales as a contractor running a trades business is really important first, and then I'll kind of tell you what I would do if you want to improve your sales ability. If you don't care about protecting your clients, this is not for you. But an impact of not learning how to close deals and be great at sales is, even if you do the best job in the world and you feel like you will take care of your homeowners and your clients better than any other contractors in your town, because there are some really great ones and there are some really not great ones, it's a disservice for you to not close your clients and have them be your client. Because if you let them off the hook and they go end up booking with somebody else who might not treat them well, might treat their home poorly, show up late. I've heard horror stories of contractors taking deposits, never showing up. You're allowing your clients to go through that. Like, if you genuinely believe in your core that you will take care of your clients better than any other contractor in your city, it's almost your duty to get good at sales, which is communicating the value that you're going to bring. It's a disservice if you don't close them. Only if you do good work.
I love that.
Mhm.
It's always so nice to see here because like You're absolutely right. If you're not the one to do it and you do great work, someone else is going to just mess everything up. And it's like, well, they're probably going to call you, but we could have just avoided that to begin with. Right. So I think the biggest thing, so obviously, Mr. Sales here literally got $100 million offers behind there. So he's all about it. Yeah, one of the things we come across are like contractors that literally can't close, or they close like 30%, like 3 out of 10 deals. And it's like you can get them leads, but at the end of the day, it's like if they can't close, then they just won't be able to book the work, right? So, what do you think when you were doing sales? I know you kept a high closing percentage, trained your team too. So, what do you think the difference was between like the way you did it versus maybe someone that comes in, just shoots out a number, maybe even on a napkin if you're lucky? Like, what do you think the big difference was?
Yeah, I mean, there's sales ability and there's also the lead quality. Like a lot of the leads that I got were from door to door, and the lower, the colder the lead, the better you have to be at sales, and the warmer the lead, you can get the same result without being as good at sales. So like the lead quality from going door to door versus when they would come to our website and they fill out an application and they go, hey, I want a quote, and they're reaching out to us, those are way easier to close. So I don't have to be as good at sales. But super grateful that I came from a background of cold leads. So it forced me to get really good at sales. But the difference is just like having a great process and just setting up the estimate really well. Like in sales, it's really, if you're not in the sales world and you haven't really studied sales, I can see how it can feel like it's a game of chance. Like, let's just throw out this bid and hopefully they email me back and I get the job. But it's actually not random at all. If you think about all the reasons why a project might not close or an estimate might not go through, it's, we're on the spot is, uh, they might need to talk to their spouse. It's like having the spouse there so that you're closing that door so that you don't have to handle that objection. Or maybe your price, that their expectation of what they think the scope of the project is, maybe they think it's 10 grand, but it's actually around 20 grand. So like getting in sync around the price expectation before the quote, and just like making sure that you set yourself up with the best initial condition that you can before going there. And then once you're at the quote, just like really caring about your clients and giving them the best service that you can in terms of how thoroughly you explain how you're going to do the project, like showing them your reviews. And it's like that first meeting, that quote, how you show up in that quote is how they think you're going to show up when you come to their project in the summertime. So it's like if you just come in for 10 minutes and you barely give them your attention, or you look like you don't want to be there, that's how they think you're going to show up in the summertime. So if you show up and you are smiling, you are taking your time, walking them through like before and after photos, asking them what questions they have, making sure that they understand exactly how the project's going to go, and explaining to them why you're the best. Like, okay, like this guy obviously really cares. And typically sales is a game of who cares the most. Like the prospect's going to book with who they feel like cares about them the most. So it's like, if it means for you to spend an extra 20 minutes and like answer their questions and make sure that they feel clear, like that 20 minutes is what might get you a 20 grand job or not.
Super worth it on a monetary level. I'm not sure if I told you this yet, but I think it was Jimmy that was on a call with somebody in our coaching program. And Jimmy was explaining to them that we ran, painting companies before too, and that we would close our projects, between 70 and 80%. And this guy, he's like, nah, that, it's just COVID. Like, you're getting lucky. Like, and we were like, all right, cool. I don't think so.
And it's like,
but
it's not fair enough.
It's not luck if it happens 5 years in a row.
Yeah.
Totally. Or even just like years in the row. So like, once you've shown up and I'll
say one thing about that.
Yeah.
There's a concept called accurate thinking. And accurate thinking is not about what's technically true or not, but what will serve you. So it's like, it doesn't serve you if you say that's lucky, because that means that it's out of your control. But it serves you to go, maybe I'm just not good enough. How can I get as good as Josh and Jimmy? That's a belief that'll actually serve you. So yeah, like I define luck as when opportunity meets preparation. So it's like, you're good at sales. You didn't win the lottery.
Mm-hmm. I wish I won the lottery, but
man, also like when I heard that, it was like it also opened up my perspectives. Like, man, there are a lot of contractors hurting out there because the average I think he said was around like 30%. And it was like, man, like if it's 30 and there's a specific process you do to get you to like 70%, that's over two times that you could be booking jobs just from doing nothing else different, right? Like that you were booking instead of like 3 jobs every 10, you're booking like 7 every 10. Yeah, there's a big difference in how much you can bring in for not only yourself but also for your team, right?
Totally.
Yep.
Yeah. When I was coaching, when I was consulting contractors, it's like it might seem like 30% seems decent if you put on your contractor hat, but if you take that off and put on your business hat or your sales hat, and you focus more on the business side than working in your business as a tradesperson, you're gonna you get good at the skills you spend the most time with. So it's like if you spend your time on the tools, you're just gonna get really good on the tools. But it's like I used to tell all my contractors, all the money is made by working with things that are shoulders up, like your brain and your mouth, talking, selling, not shoulders down, working with your back, arms, and knees.
Damn, write it down. Write it down.
Take a second, write that down right now.
Yeah, it's like working on the business, stuff that actually moves the needle instead of working in the business, being your own employee. It just doesn't make you that much money.
What sort of mindset would you give the people that like are even in the situation where it's like maybe they got like even 2 guys, but they're still like kind of painting or still doing the tile or still, putting the tub in? Like, obviously they're there if they have a couple guys, they can, but they're, they're thinking they can make more money. They stay on.
Yeah, it's just not true. It's just not true. It's like if you are putting in the tub, like that's somebody that you can hire for. It's like how much would you pay that person? 30, 40 bucks an hour. But it's like if it takes you an hour to go close an estimate for 20 grand and you make 40% margins, that's 8 grand. It's like you should do the things in the business that nobody else can do. Not that they can't do it, but it's way easier to hire somebody to be an installer than to, communicate to the client why you're the best company in the city and close the estimate.
Mm-hmm. Just to add on that too, like what would you say to somebody? Because a lot of times we hear, hey, like I'm still going to do this. I like it. Or it's like if I'm painting or I'm installing something, my profit margin, quote unquote, it goes up to like 60, 70% because I save the labor. What would you tell to someone like that?
Yeah. Would you rather have half a watermelon or a whole grape? It's like, yeah, maybe 70% margins on $100,000 business. It's like, would you rather make 30% on a $1 million business or 70% margins on a $100,000 business? It's like, you shouldn't look at the percentages. You should look at the net dollar for the profit. Profit, not the margin, like the percentage.
Do you guys remember that experiment that everybody heard about when they were growing up where they give the kids cookies and they say, if you don't eat it in 30 minutes, I'll give you another one? And then there's some people that eat it immediately. And there's some people that wait for the second cookie. Not being on the tools is like waiting for the second cookie.
Yeah. The marshmallow test.
Yeah, it was a marshmallow. That's what it was.
You just love cookies.
He just wanted cookies.
I was thinking about him.
The big cookies guy. But yeah, it's like, it's just if you love being on the tools, like the business is great because there's no right way to run a business. If you want to run a business and you just want to be on the tools, do that. But if you want to make a lot of money, you got to be a business person, not a trades person. And I would almost say if you're at the scale where you have 2 crews or 2 installers and you're on the tools, I would almost say if you care about your team and you care about leadership, it's actually a disservice to them because that's time you could have spent getting more work for them, refining your systems, making your business better so that they can do their jobs better. But you're foregoing that to swing a hammer and not making the lives of your employees better. So I would almost say it's selfish.
Totally. What do you think about, because like the interesting thing about business, even in general, is that what you need to focus on in different stages of your business is different, right? Like what you're focusing on from 200K to 500K in revenue and 500K to $1 million in revenue is completely different. And just when you think you have the game figured out, the game goes, you thought, So what do you think we should be focusing on from that 200K to 500K? And what do you think you should be focusing on from that 500K to that $1 million mark?
To run a $200,000 business, you need like 2 employees and you just got to do a lot of estimates. $500,000, you're going to need a foreman and then a couple crews. And then $1 million, you need to almost have a business within a business and have a manager that can sell and manage projects for you. So you almost go from being the different stages is small local business to a company to an organization.
Mm-hmm. What do you focus on during those stages besides those, important parts that you need?
I mean, to be completely honest, until you're at like multi 7 figures, like you should only focus on marketing and sales. Like I would say most contractors don't really have a desire to run like a $50 million business. So if you just get good at marketing and sales, you can scale to multi 7 figures, and you probably never have to worry about money for the rest of your life.
Oh, there you go. Just marketing and sales. Man, I wish like we knew someone that did marketing or even sales. Crazy.
We'll have to refer them.
Yeah, we'll find somebody.
I wish I knew 3 guys who were good at marketing and sales.
That's hilarious. What do you think, like, if you had to like think back, and I know it's been a few years for you, Joe, but like if you had to think back to those integral systems in your business, because something that you learn hopefully early on in your business life is good businesses are just a lot of good systems, right? So what would you focus on in those like early to mid stages in terms of like systems and procedures, SOPs?
Yeah. What part of the business specifically?
I mean, let's run it to sales and marketing, I guess, maybe while we're here.
What are some great systems for sales and marketing? For sales specifically, speed to lead is incredibly important. If you call your leads within the first 5 minutes, Alex Ramosi says there's actually a 397% increase in conversion. So you can almost 4x your business and 4x your conversions just by calling your leads immediately. And there's a half-life to leads in terms of like how cold they get. So it's like, and if you're like spending money or exerting time and energy to get the leads from door knocking, you're just burning money by not calling your leads. Like that's like such an easy thing to do, but it's also easy not to do it. Call your leads immediately. Have scripts. Have a pre-estimate script where you qualify the lead. Like don't just go to random estimates. Qualify them before you go. Build a client manual presentation where essentially you have a binder that explains about you, your company, why you're the best at what you do, having before and after pictures. Get back to estimates really quickly. Try and present on the spot. There's a thing called excitement fatigue, where the longer it takes for them to like make a decision, the less excited they are, and they can't make a decision unless you give them a quote. So give them the quote as quickly as possible. And I would just say like pick one acquisition channel, whether it's Facebook ads or door knocking. Just do one and do it really well, and do it until there's nothing else you can do. I think a lot of people try and do a lot of different things at the same time. Like the man who chases 2 rabbits catches none. Pick one thing and get really good at it. You can scale to 7 figures on one way of generating leads, which is kind of contradictory to what I said around having 2 ways. But I think there's a big thing in focus. But the guy that I coach, the reason he did 2 isn't because it's like it's like active marketing and passive marketing. Door knocking is active marketing. Facebook ads are passive marketing. So that was the difference. Yeah, just like do a lot. Like volume negates luck. Like before you try and do better, just do more. And if you do more, you'll probably know how to do it better just because you've done it a lot. Right? People say work hard, work smart, not hard, but it's such a beautiful fallacy because you don't know how to work smart until you've worked really hard and worked a lot. So do a lot. Like I feel like a lot of contractors and just entrepreneurs in general, they just don't do enough input.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree. And I also think like even, obviously back to the not working on the right things. It's like, well, they might even be putting in the input, but after a day of lugging tile up the stairs, last thing I want to do is call my leads. But it's like, man, probably should just hopped in the truck, called the leads, and then dealt with the tile. You might have had, and the priority sequence is important in that regard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you're a contractor and you're working really hard and you're not happy with the money you're making, you're probably working on the wrong shit.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird if you work really hard and don't make a lot of money. You're just working on the wrong things. You're going really far, you're just going far in the wrong direction.
Mm-hmm. Totally. What would you say to someone because I mean, there are situations in business where it's like the next step just requires a big risk, right? Because it's like, and again, let's start from the bottom. It's just you painting walls. Big risk, number one, hire somebody else on. Awesome. Hire number two. Awesome. Try and find a way to deal with your leads. Took the risk, got someone to figure out your marketing. Awesome. How do you frame risk in business?
How do I frame risk in business? That's a great question. Did you have it written down? That's a really
No.
great...
No. That was straight from the heart.
Yeah. How do I frame risk? It's like, it's risky scaling, risky not scaling. It's risky hiring. It's risky not hiring. It's risky working on the business. It's risky working in the business. It's all risky.
Mm-hmm.
You might as well take the risk that pays you the best. And the smarter you get in business, you can minimize risk and minimize your downside by understanding how to play the game better. Like if you don't know how to do something, I can totally see how that's risky. But the same thing can be not risky at all for somebody else. Why is that? Because they know the rules. Right? It's like someone can totally say running Facebook ads is really risky. Yeah, if you don't know how to run Facebook ads.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want to run Facebook ads, you guys don't think it's risky because you guys don't do it. It's like I don't think sales is lucky, but the person who doesn't know how to sell, they go, that's luck.
Mm-hmm.
So I would just say just like increase your skill set and just like understand how to play the game better, like whatever game you're playing. It's like so a homeowner can be like, installing my own bathtub is so risky. It's like, what if I mess? It's like the contractor's been doing it for 30 years. It's like, yeah, I just do this for breakfast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's all hard. Scaling is hard. Not scaling is hard. Getting rich is hard. Being poor is hard. It's all risky. It's all hard. It's like you might as well do what will serve you and your family better.
I love it. Jimmy, anything to add there?
Yeah, I think like since we talked a lot about getting off the tools, I guess I have a question around basically like that 500K plus mark, right? Because getting off the tools, you got to trust yourself, the big leap. Once things are going well, right? Like things are going well, what would be your next step in terms of like scaling that business? Okay, you're off the tools now. You threw your hat over the wall. You're starting to do this. Oh, okay, the risk doesn't seem as risky anymore because you're doing it more. Now it's like, okay, how do I get to that $1 million mark, that $2 million mark? I'm off the tools. Where do I go next for those types of contractors?
You can definitely sell $1 million by yourself. Because if you like, I think it's also really important in business to be a numbers person. But it's like, if you want to run $1 million business, and you go $1 million, and for the average contractor, let's say your average job size is $20,000. It's 50 jobs. Let's say you have a 30% close rate, because 70 is just crazy and lucky.
It's insane.
That's 166 estimates at 30%, 52 weeks in a year. 52 weeks in a year?
Yes.
I think so.
It's 3.2 estimates a week. How long is that? 2 hours, 3 hours? So it's like 6 to 9 hours of work. So it's just like, make sure you have enough leads to do 3 estimates a week. Just be a numbers guy.
Wow.
Look at that. Sometimes it's simpler than it seems, right?
Yeah, like people, like you just got to chunk things down. It's like, what's your average job size? How many estimates you need to do? And just chunking down into daily and weekly inputs. And if you do enough inputs over time, the results will average out. But it's like people just don't do the math on what it takes to make the money that they want to make. Like $1 million is just like not that crazy.
And for all you listening, put in perspective for a second, right? It's like if you're hitting your KPIs, then you're just not doing 3 estimates a week.
But if your closing rate was 70% instead of 30, that ends up being 1.5 estimates a week or whatever that is. you can do less and get the same result if your skill set is higher. But even if you suck at sales and you close at 10%, you just do 9 estimates a week. It's not that crazy.
Mm-hmm. I love it. Well, Joseph Kim, thank you so much for being on our podcast. You are just a wealth of knowledge. If someone talked to you for 200 hours, they'd still not understand everything you knew. I swear to God. If you guys want to see what it might look like to potentially work with us, or even, hey, potentially work with Joe, we'll definitely have his info down below as well. But we really appreciate you guys tuning in and listening, and we'll see you in the next.
Let's go.
Peace out.